complete unbiased opinion, we're going to go 17-0. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. On this one, we are going to check out the Packers schedule for the 2022 season and my personal opinions and predictions for each game. Now getting right into it. In the first week, we are on the road going to Minnesota to play the Vikings. Now the Vikings, we're not entirely sure how that team could look like after Zimmer was fired and they have a new head coach. They might still be trying to figure out their team and what to make of Kirk Cousins. Can Kirk Cousins even succeed in the new system? So I'm kind of unsure of what to expect fully from the Vikings, but considering it's week one and the Vikings don't have a good roster, I could see us getting a win here. Although based off last year, I thought we would beat the Saints and we lost, and more than a loss. So if we did drop that one, I wouldn't be too shocked because it's week one, but I believe we should win this game. Moving on to week two, we are going over to Chicago. So starting off with two divisional games for the season, but we are at home playing the Bears on Sunday Night Football. Now the Bears have 3 primetime games this season, and I'm not really sure why. Because, well, I don't think the Bears are that good. They're still rebuilding. We don't know what Justin Fields is. They don't know what Justin Fields is. Their defense has gotten worse. They did trade away Khalil Mack, so the team's not that good as of right now. So I do see us getting a dub, especially playing in Lambeau. Chicago does not do well coming over to Green Bay to play us. I believe we've won our last 5 or 6 games in Lambeau Field when playing the Bears. So this one should be a dub, and we're watching the game on TV. It might be an early night. On to week 3 is our actual first true test in playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. So Aaron Rodgers and the Packers don't typically do good in Florida. A lot of close games or a lot of losses, besides of course the playoff game 2 years ago when we played the Buccaneers in the playoffs. We played a really good game, but during the regular season, history is not exactly on our side. Of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have a great defense. Tom Brady's back. Gronk will probably be back. It seems like he's going to be back. And the receiving crew with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Antonio Brown is gone, but they still have a very good team, and they pushed us around in the regular season last time we played them. So this could come down to possibly how good our defense is starting and how good we're going to be able to run against them, because they have a good run defense, and with us trying to figure out how our receiving crew could be, I could see us taking an L on this game, especially since it is in Florida. So fortunately, I feel like we're gonna lose on this game and we'll start the season off 2-1. Next, on to week 4, we are going to play Bill Belichick after playing Tom Brady, but this one will be home at Lambeau. Bill Belichick, still a great defensive minded coach. They have a good defense. They're getting weapons on the offensive side with the receivers. We're getting Devontae Parker, and Mac Jones is in year 2. I did like what I saw from Mac Jones last year. I actually think he's a pretty good quarterback and is only going to get better. So year 2 into the system, granted they don't have the same offensive coordinator, so that might stifle them a little bit, but out of the way, I do expect Mac Jones to do a little bit better. But even with all that, we should still come out with a win against the Patriots. Then on to week 5, where we are going overseas and playing in London against the New York Giants. This technically would be a home game, but well, we're in London, so it's not really a home game. But hey, the Londoners get to see the best team in football in the Green Bay Packers play, so cool. Now the Giants, they're still in rebuild mode. They don't have a good team. They don't even know what to expect out of Danny Two Nichols, so who knows. Daquan's coming back. He's a good runner back. The defense is still in disarray. It's not a strong roster overall, so I do see us winning this game. But because it is in London, if we did somehow drop this game because well, we've never played overseas, and we just don't adjust well to the plane ride and the jet lag, I wouldn't be too shocked, but I do expect us to win. Then on week 6, coming back home, we are going to play the other New Jersey team in the Jets. Same thing with the Giants, really. Both New Jersey teams are not, the roster is not that strong. Zach Wilson is in his 2nd year. They have some good weapons, and Michael Carter at running back, and they drafted another running back. They got some good receivers, and their defense, their head coach is a defensive minded coach, but the defense isn't there yet. It's a weak roster all around, and we should win this game. On to week 7, we are playing the Washington Football Commanders over in Landover, Maryland. This is one of those potentially push games, and it kind of depends on Carson Wentz in a way. I actually think they have a pretty good defense, especially with Chase Young. Their front 7 is really good, so if they can get to the quarterback fast, that can cause problems. And the reason why I say it kind of comes down to Carson Wentz is because Carson Wentz has 2 completely different spectrums. Either you got MVP Carson Wentz, which he has shown, or you have Jacksonville losing Carson Wentz. So it kind of depends on which Carson Wentz is showing up that game and also that season. So if we get non-MVP Carson Wentz, it should be an instant dub. If we get MVP Carson Wentz, then I could see us struggling and possibly trying to fight for a win. But otherwise, I mostly see this game as a dub. Next, on to possibly the toughest game on our schedule in week 8. We are on the road to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, they've got to be hands down the favorite in the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl. I think they're the best team in the AFC, and they probably should have went to the Super Bowl last year if it wasn't from some craziness from the Chiefs and playing prevent defense. But Buffalo only got better. They upgraded their roster on defense. Josh Allen is a heck of a quarterback. Slightly mobile. I am interested to see how our defense plays against Buffalo and Josh Allen, considering Josh Allen is pretty mobile. It's a big dude, and he can throw, and he can throw deep. Like, he has almost everything. I'm curious of how our defense responds to playing that type of quarterback. As well of our offense, the Buffalo Bills has a really good defense. Unfortunately, I do see us taking a loss in this game after such a long stretch, a lot of short weeks and all. I do see us losing this game. Then on to week number 9, still on the road, going over to Detroit to play the Lions. Yeah, this should be a dub. But I'm not like a certain lock on that. Detroit, I feel like, was finding something at the end of last season. I think Dan Campbell is actually a really good head coach. He's done some good things over there with Detroit, and they seem to be finding something. They had a really good draft in getting Hutchinson somehow as a 2nd overall pick. Thank you, Jaguars, once again. But at the end of the day, the Lions aren't there yet. They still have Jared Goff at quarterback. This should be a dub for the Packers, and I think the Lions are still rebuilding, trying to get their team and just building through the trenches, and probably going to go for a quarterback this year. So win for the Packers. On to week 10, we have probably what is going to be America's game of the week, especially since it is shown at 3:25 p.m. Central Time, and it's the Cowboys, and they're coming to Lambeau Field with Mike McCarthy as their head coach. We have the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I could see this becoming a shootout kind of game, especially with how both offenses are. We might be able to figure out what our receiver crew is and starting to expand. This game could be a push game. It's going to come down of what the Cowboys are. We don't really know what Zeke is going to be this season. He has that potential like he does every season, but he has been on the downside the last couple of seasons. So it depends on what Cowboys team we have, where Dak is, how are their receivers, are their defense, has it taken the next step, especially with Micah Parsons having a heck of a rookie year. But with all that being said, the Packers tend to play the Cowboys well. We typically have their number. It's in Lambeau Field, and I just don't think the Cowboys have that good of a roster to compete with us. So I will say this is probably a dub for the Packers. Next, on to week 11, we have a short week, and it is a Thursday night game, and where we are playing the Tennessee Titans, but at least it is at home. I do think we're going to lose this game after playing the Cowboys last week, in which it might be a highly emotional game for some of the players like Aaron Rodgers, Cobb, Aaron Jones, those type of players. Like, they were there for Mike McCarthy and might have some type of emotional connection to it, as well as the build up to being Mike McCarthy's first game playing in Lambeau again. With all that, Tennessee also has a bye week beforehand, so they're going to have a couple of weeks to look up on us and game footage and to game plan for us, while we're on a quick turnaround 4 days later. Hi Tennessee, welcome to our stadium. Hopefully our run defense is really good and we can stop Derrick Henry again, because Derrick Henry is rolling. That means Ryan Tannehill, the play action opens up and it could cause problems. Derrick Henry is still a force to be reckoned with, even though we stopped him last season, which I still cannot believe we stopped him to 60 yards. So as I said, probably a loss, unfortunately. Then moving on to week 12, we are going over to Philadelphia to play the Eagles, which is about an hour away from me. I would love to go to that game. I'm not trying to die, but playing the Eagles, this will give a true test to our defense, I believe. Historically, especially in the past decade, throughout my nightmares, the Packers have struggled against mobile quarterbacks. And well, Jalen Hurts is a good mobile quarterback who can run. They have a very good run attack, especially when the city was saying, hey, run the ball more. They ran the ball more to good success. Granted, they had some weaker opponents, but still, they had one of the best rushing attacks in the league in the second half of the season. Will our defense take that next step in becoming a good run stopping defense? Can we contain mobile quarterbacks? Will we be able to read the read option and contain well? Those are questions I would like to see, and I feel like the Eagles are the true test in figuring out, is our defense that good? Can I stop being scared of the run? Because the run has unfortunately been in our nightmares the past decade, and we had a good season last season, but I want to see us to take the extra step. And with all that, I do think we're going to lose this game. It's definitely a push game. It could go either way, but I feel like we're going to lose this game just because of the historics of losing against mobile quarterbacks, and we just don't play well in Philly. And after our trip to Philly, we are going over to Chicago to play the Bears once again. As I said earlier, the Bears don't have a good roster. They're still trying to figure out Justin Fields. Even though we're on the road, we've played good in Soldier Field. I still think we get the dub. On to the next week. And on to the next week is a bye week. So we have a late bye week in week 14. We can get through the first 13 weeks in a good slate. Week 14 could be very vital to us. Having a late bye week sucks, but it could spell well for our playoff aspirations and going to the Super Bowl. And after the bye week, we are hosting the Super Bowl champions Los Angeles Rams. The Packers, we have had a good track record against the Rams. We've played them well. A lot of people also think we have the edge just because we're at home. It's Lambeau Field. Los Angeles doesn't play well in the cold, but I don't know how much of that is also Jared Goff not playing well in the cold. They have Stafford. He's played in some cold games, maybe just like 2 or 3. Jokes aside, they have Stafford. He's played in the cold for most of his career. He can play in Lambeau Field. He knows how to play in Lambeau Field. He knows how to play in the snow, the cold. So I feel like the cold thing isn't going to be as big of a factor in that. But even with all that, I do think we will win a close one, even if it's like a last second field goal. I don't think we'll win by a big margin, but we will come out with the win. And on to week 16, we play the Miami Dolphins on Christmas Day. Now we will be on the road for this game. So unfortunately on Christmas Day, we are going to the state of Florida, where we don't historically play well. I believe the last time we played the Dolphins was when we did the fake spike against them and threw it to Devontae Adams and barely squeaked out a win in that game. Granted, the weather during that game was like 110 degrees. It was stupid hot. It shouldn't be 110 degrees on Christmas. If it is, wow. Now this game will probably come down to who the Dolphins are at that point of the season. I think they have a really good defense. They have definitely bolstered up their wide receiving crew with Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle has become a beast. He seems like a complete receiver. Jalen Waddle is a beast, as we saw last season. Dude can ball out. It's going to depend on Tua. Who is Tua? Can he succeed? The Dolphins organization is giving him the tools to succeed, and it's going to depend on who he is. Also, to have note, it's going to depend on the Brian Flores case and their allegations towards Miami Dolphins. If that lingers on for a lot of the season, that could play a role in the locker room as a distraction. I know players typically say, hey, it's not a distraction. It plays a role. It has to. They hear it. So with all that, I think we come out with a dub against the Dolphins. Then on week 17, we come back home and play the Minnesota Vikings. This could be a trap game if we were to call one. The Minnesota Vikings, yes, they're not that good, but it is a divisional foe. They do play us well at home. They always typically steal one of these games from us. And if they were going to steal a game, I feel like it would be this one. So I actually think we could lose this game on week 17. Then on to week 18, we stay at home and play the Detroit Lions. Now it's going to depend on where the Packers are at the end of the season. Do they have a first round bye? Do they have the division locked up? Do we have anything to play for? Because as we saw last season, we didn't really have anything to play for. We played the first half, let Jordan Love take over the second half, and we got the L. But we were resting our starters, so it wasn't a big deal. So it's going to come down to that. If it's a meaningful game that we need to win, we're going to win. If it's a game where we just play our starters for a quarter or a half and then let the backups come in, I could see us losing this game. But in the event that we play the full game, I say we get the dub. So after that long grueling season, I see us going 12-5 for this season, which is still a very good record. Yes, we might have gotten spoiled with our 13-3 or 13-4 seasons, but it is extremely difficult to consistently go 13-3, 13-4 now with the 18-week season every season. I do believe we have taken a next step, or I'm hoping we've taken the next step with our defense with drafting Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. There's still some questions with the receiving crew, and it depends on what LaFleur shifts our offense to. But I'm not worried about our receiving crew because Matt LaFleur is very good at scheming receivers open. So I'm not too worried about that. But of course, let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you feel like we would lose some other games? Do you disagree with the 12-5? And of course, like the video if you like it, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.